I'll be talking to you about CAC registrations with small businesses, or with respect to small businesses, or with respect to businesses in general. Okay? So I'd like to paint two scenarios, and I want you to listen carefully because you're going to answer a question based on those two scenarios I'll be painting. So in 2021, Shola and Chantel, they had an idea. Or first of all, let me put it this way. In 2021, Shola and Chantel had a discussion, and Shola spoke of how that he gained admission at the first instance into the University of Ibadan. And Chantel spoke about how that she had to wait for 3 years before gaining admission into the University of Ibadan. And they thought to themselves, what can we do to help students, aspiring students, not to go through the experience that Chantel went through? In other words, how can we help students gain admission at first instance? And then they came together to form an idea, and this birthed a vision called Varsity Edge. The following year, I was approached by these two people, and they told me they wanted to register the company. The company was registered, and since 2021, they've been going for competitions, going for bargaining to get investors to invest into the company and all of the above, all of those things. And so today, as we speak, over 600 students across Nigeria have gained admission through Varsity Edge, and in a just concluded competition in Unilag, Varsity Edge won over 1.6 million naira. Jumoke approached me also sometime and told me that she had an idea. You know, she was cooking for people, her neighboring, friends around your BQ or your environs, and they were eating and they loved the food. And she approached me about it, and I told her, this is a business idea, start business. And then I told her to register her business. Fortunately for Jumoke, she was approached by a government official, and she was given a contract to supply food. And from there, she got a bigger network, and network grew, and then she had other instances where people asked her to supply. Today, Jumoke is top-notch in the food industry. So from these two instances I just posed, what do you think stood the two sets of people out? Or what can you take? What is distinct from the scenarios I just painted right now? What stood these two sets of people out is rightly positioning themselves for opportunities. All right? Now, when I was preparing for this meeting, this session, I told myself, the market is saturated. Do you believe that? If you say you are a fashion designer, there are 1 million, am I lying? If you say you are what? Give me other options, other businesses, entrepreneurial, anybody? If you say you are a tailor, if you say you cook, if you say you are a content creator, let's start from there. With the COVID-19 breakout, what happened? People discovered their talents, that they could go into content all of a sudden. In fact, I discovered I was a comedian, but then I don't just have a flair for content creation. But everybody started thinking, right? And then so the market is saturated. So what would distinguish you from every other person in your field is rightly positioning yourself. What did I say? So I also thought to myself when I was preparing for this meeting, because I had to reminisce on a lot of things. So I also thought to myself, the difference between somebody who is rightly positioned and the other person who is not rightly positioned is that those who are rightly positioned, opportunities will come, smile at them, shake them in the hands, sit in their house, and sit for generations. Their children will reap from their act of being rightly positioned. Why those who are not rightly positioned? Opportunities will come, look at them, frown at them, and walk away. You see? So basically, you ask me, Chelsea, how can I be rightly positioned as an entrepreneur or as a business person? One major way you can be rightly positioned is by registering your business with the Corparate Affairs Commission. Yeah. So there are no too small businesses to register with the Corporate Affairs Commission. As I speak to you in this year, as a final year law student, I've registered no less than 50 businesses, companies, and NGOs with the Corporate Affairs Commission as an agent. I've also struck deals of over 10 million, 20 million share capital deals. And in this year, I bagged my craziest deals of registering 2 business deals that were over 100 million share capital as a student, as a final year law student. If you want to clap, please clap for me. So basically, you might have been hearing of Corporate Affairs Commission, Corporate of CAC. I'm sure you must have seen flyers everywhere and all of those things, and you're wondering, what is CAC? I didn't know these tax guys that will come and chase me and say, when I register, they'll start saying, oh, come and pay tax. So what exactly is CAC, and why should I register with CAC? Basically, first of all, I want to establish that CAC is the acronym for Corporate Affairs Commission, and is the body responsible for incorporating businesses, companies, and NGOs, making them recognized by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. All right? So your business is just your business. Many of us claim that we're CEOs. On your status, CEO of blah, 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 blah. CEO, wherever you're going, your shoulders are high. You are not a CEO, or you are only a CEO in your parlor or in your hostel until you are registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. Do you understand that? So don't go around saying, I'm a CEO, and they ask you, are you registered? And then you begin to cringe because you are not registered. It means that you are not recognized by the Federal Republic of Nigeria as having a business that has a legal standing. Do we understand? Am I making sense? All right. So why register with the Corporate Affairs Commission? First of all, it gives you a legal personality. And when I talk about legal personality, you are recognized, your business is recognized as separate and distinct from you. In law, I'll teach you a bit of law here, very fast, and in a way you understand, and you will love the law. I know some of you don't like law, but you will love the law. All right, so basically, what does it mean to be incorporated? So in company law, there's what we call incorporation. So, for instance, I sell shirts, or I sell, let's say I'm a makeup artist. Let me come down to, I'm a makeup artist, or I'm a fashion designer, and I have a business. You know what we call sole proprietorship business, yeah? All right. So if I don't register my business, most times many of us run businesses by, I have a fashion designing business. You and the business is the same account number you have. Am I lying? And so, when you get money, for instance, I have a job, and then maybe someone invites me for a wedding, and then what's it called now? I make over 10 people up, and I get like 50K. You put it in your own personal account, all right? And then you're not saving, nothing, and then you realize that, oh, I made so much money. Wow, my business is growing. But then the next moment, you realize that you are buying shawarma. You realize that, oh, there's this shoe that you've always admired, all right? So you and the business, you are not exactly different. Do you understand? And most times, when your business is not incorporated, or when you're not registered, first of all, you don't have a separate account for the business, and people will not want to invest in your business. Why? Because they feel that you are not separate from your business. So when you're investing in your business, how do I get you when I have a problem with you, or when I have a problem with your business? Let me not go too far. I'm already digressing. But the first point I established was what? Legal what? Personality. That is, it gives your business that legal identity, that it is separate and distinct from you. The second thing is that you have your name preserved. All right? All right? So many mistakes that many of us make is that you have a business idea. And I'm not just talking to entrepreneurs alone. I'm talking to those who have visions and ideas. For instance, my brother here, Ayo, spoke about his NGO. So you have an NGO. Some of you have been functioning. You have an NGO running for over 4 years and 5 years. It's not registered. That's erroneous. I think it was last year, somebody walked up to me and then told me that he wants to register his NGO. And okay, so by the time I tried to reserve the name of the NGO, I discovered that there were over 10 NGOs that had similar names with that particular NGO. You see, so CAC was refusing to grant that name or grant them the permission to use that name. And I told my clients, I said, sir, we can't use this name because we have how do I put God's Power NGO. Let's just give an example, all right? God's Power NGO. And then you see God's Gift Power. People would tweak it because they really want that name. So my client has been using this name for over years, and then he didn't think to register it. So when it was time, CAC couldn't grant the name because in law, it's seen as passing off. All right? I'm coming there. Let me just hold on. So my client insisted, Chelsea, I want this name. Chelsea, I've signed contracts with this name. Chelsea, I've done this with this name. In fact, we've reached out to several schools. We've done a lot of things. We've documented a lot of things with this name. I need this name. There are clients like that. There's nothing I can do. All right, so I explained to him. He didn't understand. And We eventually got a name very close. We tweaked the name, but it took us over 2 months to arrive at a name that was very closely, or that was closely related to the name that he wanted. So that's one of the disadvantages of not registering. So I was explaining, number one, it gives you what? Legal what? Personality. Number two, it helps to protect your name. All right? So the first thing as a business owner is not to print out flyers. It's not to, maybe you, what's it called now? You're in the food industry. You make food. It's not to print out nylons, all those packaging. The first thing is not packaging. The first thing is when you have an idea, when you have a business idea, the first thing is to ensure that your name or that your business is registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, thereby having your name preserved by them. And so anybody who wants to use your name can be sued. We're getting there. So I said I was going to teach you a bit of law. There's a case called Niger Chemists versus Nigerian Chemists. All right? So Niger Chemist was established in, I'm trying to remember, I think it's in Anambra. I can't remember the state right now. So Niger Onitsha, thank you so much, that person. So it was established in Onitsha. Imagine, it had already been established. They sell pharmaceutical products. They render medical services already in Onitsha. And so there's a man that just came and then established Nigerian Chemists. All right? And he did not just establish Nigerian Chemists. Okay, so Niger Chemists is in Onitsha. He didn't establish it in Lagos. He established it in Onitsha on the same street with Niger Chemists. All right? And so when people go to get pharmacy, they were selling the same thing, obviously. When people go and get drugs and all of those things, you know Nigerians now. Nigeria, what's the difference? You walk into anyone, right? There was this saga of Amoy and Amory sauce. Who remembers that when we had like goods having the same names, and then people were saying that the other ones were fake. But Nigerians, do you think you walk into a store, except you are, even the learned people say, let's not lie, am I lying? When you see two products, except you are very conscious, you might just want to pick up any one. Like maybe your friend recommended a product for you, and then you see that the names are similar. You just want to take one. So basically, the owner of Niger Chemists brought an action against the owner of Nigeria Chemists, and said, why will you have? We're selling the same thing. We're bearing almost the same name, and we're on the same streets. Really? So he took him to court. And so Palmer J, that's Judge, J is Judge, or Justice. So the judge on that matter said that, in his ruling, he said that I would assume that if I send my illiterate servants to go and get drugs on the same streets, he would mistake Nigerian chemists for Niger chemists. So hence, the court ruled against Nigerian chemists, all right? Ruled against, meaning they supported the claim of what? Niger chemists. And then instructed that there was going to be an injunction on what? Nigerian chemists from carrying out what? Pharmaceutical services in that name or through that name. Do we understand it? So my question now is, if Niger Chemists was not registered, do you think they would have the right to go to court to sue Nigerian chemists? So do you see why you need to register? It's very important. So some people, the issue with us is that we are not thinking future prospect. Or should I say what? We don't have future perspective for our businesses. Many of us, when we open or start businesses or establish businesses, we are just like, let me just do it. So many of us, we started business because we were hungry in school. Yes or no? Don't lie. Don't lie. Hunger gave you an idea, and then you're like, let me start selling slippers, or let me start, and then you realize that you were thriving in the business, and then you thought, why not expand, right? Right? You thought, why not expand? And then you said, and then you didn't take any precaution towards it, and then you now realize that, wow, I'm thriving in this business, and maybe 5 years later, you now realize that somebody is also doing the same business in my name, all right? So it's very important that you register because it protects your name. And then when anybody tries to use your name, that is passing off in law. The law will see it as them trying to deceive the public into believing that what they are selling in their name that looks like your name, it is you that is selling it. Do we get that analogy? Do we get it? So another benefit of registering your business, I wanted to give an example of calculus. Many of us are science students, right? Oh, I'm sorry. But calculus anyways. So there was a problem between, they were trying to discover the originator of calculus, who really founded calculus, because there's Leibniz and there's Isaac Newton, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, what's his name? Leibniz had this idea of calculus first, but because he couldn't project, he didn't project it, all right? He didn't say anything about it. You know when you have an idea. So, when I was preparing for this meeting, I thought to myself, there is no idea that is unique to anyone. All right, is that true? So you're thinking of something, and there's somebody in China thinking of the same thing. The difference between you and that person in China is the ability for one person to take an action, right? So calculus, the German guy, Leibniz, thought of it, but then the Isaac Newton guy thought of calculus and took further steps. Until today, he's regarded as the father of calculus. Meanwhile, Leibniz was the first person who founded it first, you see. So that's why you don't need to be quiet about your idea. You need to protect it. Some people say, oh, Chelsea, I have a business idea, but, I don't think I'm ready. I tell them, still register. Because when you are ready, you don't now discover that somebody has taken your name and there's nothing you can do about it. You're going to be heartbroken. So one other benefit of registering your business, your company, your NGO with the Corporate Affairs Commission is that you're open to investors, all right? I've had clients that say, oh, Chelsea, there are foreign people. There was one that told me recently that there are foreigners that want to invest in my business, but my business is not showing on my status is not active. There's that one is different, but they can't see me that I'm registered. I need to register. You have an investment what's it called, plan or whatever it is. They're going to invest in your business. You're telling me a week that I should do magic. So most times the portal goes. We have like traffic on the portal and there's a lot of issues. So you want to register now. Some people, they want to apply for something. Tony Elumelu's foundation, right? I have like a couple of clients who came to me saying that, oh, for them to get the grant or whatever it is, scholarship, I don't know what exactly it was, but they had to register their business. So they were spontaneous. So imagine that you are applying for Tony Elumelu's foundation grant for your business, and then there are 50 of you. Then out of 50, 30 are registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and you are not. When they tender you before the judges or whoever is going to judge or going to choose who they will give that grant, do you think you'll be qualified for it? Because you've not made intentional steps. So for investors, it's very important. It attracts investors. So I think I also had a client who sells cashew in Jos. And then there were white people who wanted to come and buy in truck loads. And then they asked him, was he registered? And then he wanted me to do magic also. I'm giving these instances so that you guys will understand, or you all will understand the importance of registering. So you don't wait till it's deadline or till it's, you're on the hot seat before you register. What other benefits? I've spoken about suing, right? Of course, if you have a name that is registered, you can sue against anybody who tries to use your name, right? What other benefits do we have for it? So you can open a bank account now. So when you have your certificate for a business name, I'll issue you a certificate and a status report, yeah, you take to the bank, or you take to Federal Inland Revenue Service to get a tax identification number, right? So you take all those things to the bank. They will open a separate account for your business. So if you are thinking future prospects, you cannot have the same account details. You and your business, you're sharing the same account. No, that's very wrong. So you have to register so that you can have a separate account, all right? And there's another question that people ask. When I register my business, what's it called now? Will federal government be chasing me around? So people believe that they're going to hold guns and say, you have a business, you're registered. All right, you have a business, you're registered. Come on, pay tax. No. When you're registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, you don't pay tax. What you pay is annual returns. You file annual returns. And annual returns is basically what you give to the government yearly, all right? It's not tax. People mistake it for tax, but it's not tax. So, and one thing about the government is, if you are registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, it is believed that you are probably a baby business, even if you've been existing for 5 years or 4 years. What they do is they give you an immunity of 18 months. So for 18 months, even if I've been selling clothes for 5 years, when I register, CSC will say, for 18 months, don't file annual returns. So it's on the 19th month you begin to file annual returns. So if you file annual return on the 19th month is an October of this year, you file an annual return on October. Next year, October, like that, October. Do you understand? So, and for you know, the annual return fee is very cheap. It's not something that will scare you. So please register your businesses, register your companies, register your NGOs with the Corporate Affairs Commission. So many of you are going to, I've had clients also say, oh, some schools restricted me from reaching out to their students because I'm not registered. So when you're registered as an NGO, the government recognizes, so I think I went to a school one time and the proprietors or the principal was telling me, if one of the students faints when you're talking to, when you're addressing them, do you think we'll not hold you liable? But if you're registered, you have a certificate, they know that the government recognizes you. The federal government will back you up and say, oh, we know these people, all right? So that's why it's very important for you to register your businesses, companies and angels with the Corporate Affairs Commission. And there's nobody that's too small, and there's no business that is too small, and there's no business, all right? Do you know that native doctors can also register their businesses? It's a craft. It is a craft. I've not registered one anyways, but I look forward to that. It will be exciting. But this is just to emphasize the fact that if you are thinking future prospects, if you are seeing beyond now for your business, you need